Okay. In Psalm 23, we are told that in the journey of faith with Christ being our shepherd, it will include the reality that we have to go through dark valleys. That's a challenging phrase, I think, for all of us. But one of the things, as I reflect over all my years here at the Journey Church, and as I have been privileged to touch hundreds of people's lives and intersect with them, I can tell you that dark valleys is part of the story for so many of us. Actually, it's not a question I think of if you're going to go through a dark valley. It's just a question of when. You know, I know when you think about dark valleys, and we immediately think about, well, the dark valleys of serious illness or the losing of a loved one who has lived for many years and has finally passed away. And those are certainly dark valleys. I've been in hospital rooms where, the uncertainty of the diagnosis and praying for healing, but also praying for strength and for peace, regardless of what the outcomes are. Being with families who laid their loved one to rest. Those are times of grief and sorrow, and that's a dark valley. But I want to remind you that actually there's a lot of other different types of dark valleys for people as well. Over the years here at the Journey Church, I've walked with families where there's been marriage breakdown and family breakdown, where because of either unfaithfulness or abuse, mental and physical, families have been broken apart, and the hurt and the betrayal and pain is so palpable. I think about other people I've walked with where I've seen them struggle with addictions, be it to the more obvious ones we would go to about alcohol or drug abuse, but others like pornography and other addictions that just control their life and destroy them. Of course, I also think about people over the years that have struggled with profound mental illness, and they've wrestled with suicidal thoughts and depression and confusion in their mind, and helping to walk with them in a loving way has at times been very difficult. And then, of course, I think about some of the most darkest valleys where we've seen people, their lives being taken. One that comes to mind is, I remember a number of years ago, there was a parent that showed up here with a child, and they were going through, I believe, a very difficult, nasty divorce. And you could tell this parent was filled with so much anger and rage and despair, and we were doing what we could as a church family to come alongside and to help them maybe find their way through this dark valley. And I remember one Sunday, seeing the child come out and thinking how hopeful things were maybe beginning to look, and maybe they were just beginning to take the first step. And yet, before the next Sunday came around, that parent had ended that child's life, and they had taken their own. And when I think about that, the range of people that have come through our doors and have been in our community, that ranges from people who obviously have been fighting disease, facing the death of a loved one, dealing with adultery, dealing with abuse, dealing with suicides and murder even. That has been the range of people we've had throughout these years. And all I want to remind you of, and it's a reminder for me, is that what we do here is really serious and important. It's not just a social club. I think about the fact that when people come, we want to point them and help them to see, rather than choosing darkness, they can find light. And rather than filled with despair, they can have hope. Rather than death, they can find life. And so today, as we look at Psalm 23 and we talk about how do we navigate dark valleys, my hope is that we'll see how the shepherd of our souls is there. And my prayer is that will always be the rest of our stories.